So in this video, I'm going to talk about what ionic equations are and how to construct ionic equations from scratch. Hi everyone, it's Jeremy from the classroom and let's get started. Alright? Okay, so here what I've done is I've written a balanced chemical equation, sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid to form sodium chloride and water. Alright, okay? And with ionic equations, you need to make sure you first of all have the state symbols, because without that you cannot really do the ionic equation. Now, I know in schools what they do is they teach you how to split the ions and things like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down one more level. I'm going to kind of draw, and hopefully this gives you a much clearer idea on what's going on. So hydrochloric acid, in your aqueous solution will have your H plus ions and your chloride ions. And sodium hydroxide, same thing, all right, because it's aqueous means that the ions will split. You will have your sodium ions and your hydroxide ions. Okay, now when you add them together, what will happen is that they will undergo a reaction, and let's look at what happens. Okay, so it ends up with sodium chloride, and because it's in an aqueous state, sodium chloride will ionize to form sodium ions and chloride ions. And we have water, and if you recall from chemical bonding, water is a simple covalent molecule which looks like that. Now you got to recall that an ionic equation shows us which species or which ions actually react, and we ignore those that do not take part in the reaction. So those that do not take part are what we call spectator ions. Now if you compare, hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide, your reactants and your products, we see very clearly that here we have sodium ions and sodium ions, and the sodium ions basically did not take part in any reaction. They exist as Na plus before and Na plus after. So if they did not take part in the reaction, they're what we call spectator ions, and we cancel them out. All right, so they didn't react. So remember, an ionic equation will show us what ions react. We will ignore those that do not. So we cancel out the sodium. Same thing, what is another one that remains unchanged? Chloride. The chloride ion remains unchanged. Before it is Cl minus, highlighted in blue, and after it is still Cl minus, highlighted in blue. So we're also going to cancel that out, all right? And what we're left with is your ionic equation. So what we see here is that your H plus ions, actually they have reacted with your hydroxide ions to form water. They no longer exist as H plus and OH minus, but they exist as a new substance known as water. So to rewrite that, we have H plus aqueous and OH minus aqueous to form water H2O liquid. And that's an ionic equation. So I hope this short video has given you a much clearer idea on how to write ionic equations. See you next time.